Hey everyone, I'm Danielle Byington, and if you're watching this video, I'm your English instructor for whichever course that you see on the screen here that you are in. In this video, I'm going to talk about just a general overview of how to navigate the class that you are taking so you can find the things you need to in D2L. So a lot of the things are pretty much totally parallel, no matter if you are in my literary heritage course or my British literature course. So I'm going to be talking about this with those two classes side by side. I'm going to start with the course syllabi. So the only difference in your two classes, no matter which one you're enrolled in, is basically just the title at the top. Your content in the course that you'll be studying is obviously different, but the text, the course requirements, they're all basically the same. So the text, there are none. I do not require a textbook or a set of text in your courses. I'm part of a grant project that creates something called Open Educational Resources. You may see those called OERs if you're ever reading about them in the library or being referred to them in the library in the digital commons. So you will be given everything you need for your reading materials in D2L. I'm going to point that out to you in a moment whenever we get to the course calendar and your reading assignments. So your course requirements, no matter which of the classes you are in, you will be doing a research paper at the end of the semester, and that's probably not surprising to you, right? Because it's an English class. You'll be taking 3 exams throughout the semester, and those essentially are there for you to demonstrate your knowledge of the readings. I want to see you synthesize ideas with like compare, contrast, finding parallels between the content, the general content that's happening in each of your readings. Visual responses, you will have a separate video for this that covers that assignment, but they are just small, low stakes assignments. It's something to just keep you on course as the class keeps going along week by week. You do 5 of them throughout the semester. It's a really non-traditional kind of English class assignment, so you'll see more about that in that respective video. You will be doing 2 paper proposals. Again, you'll have a separate video for that covers and explains how to do those. The paper proposals and the exams are due about the same time. I try to break them up by a day or 2, depending on which class you're in. That way you're not overwhelmed with these 2 huge things like due at the same time. However, I do like to allow you to recycle your ideas and your writing. So if you wrote about something in a visual response and you really liked your idea, your topic, whatever that reading was, you can then recycle that, expand it into one of your paper proposals if you want to. And then in the end of the semester, you can then turn that into your research paper if you want to. You're not obligated. It's just that the option is there. So I don't want you to feel like every piece of work you do in this class is just tedious, busy work and meaningless. You can build it up, scaffold it into the larger final project, and it can help save you time in the end. So now this way you're aware of it going into the semester, so you can always kind of look at each assignment through the lens of, is this something I would want to turn into my final paper in the end of the term? Okay, your grading scale for 2000 level literature courses is just beneath that. Now, the main reason I have to go over the syllabus at all, especially in an online class, is because of plagiarism. So having all of this information here is essentially like a pseudo contract. It is a contract basically between you and me telling you, here's what will happen if you plagiarize. It's not good. So generally 99% of students do not do this, and I'm sorry that this is wasting time in the video that you have to hear it, but I have to say it because someone will do it. It happens about a handful of times across all of my classes. And with this, I just have to say that, well, I said not to do it. One thing I want to point out, though, besides the obvious things that are here in the upper portion of, hey, don't plagiarize, and here's what plagiarism is. Remember that it's not just like cheating on an exam or copying and pasting work into a paper and not citing it and acting like it's your intellectual property. It's beyond those traditional examples of just not having like academic honesty. Things like loaning a friend your draft of a paper, or even notes you've been making from the recorded video lectures that you're going to use for your exam, because my exams are open note, open book when you take them online. I don't recommend sharing anything like that, even if it's your best friend, your roommate that you trust, a pal on the team, what you're on, if you're on like one of the athletic teams at ETSU. Do not share your work, because I have had instances, and one really bad one in particular, where like someone's best friend since like kindergarten stole their work, turned in the draft. They asked their friend if they could see, because they were like, hey, I'm not really sure how to do this paper in the end. And they turned in their friend's whole paper and took credit for it. And it was like this whole thing, of figuring out who's telling the truth and who's not. And I just think, besides the fact that it's plagiarism, that would be a really crappy way to end your friendship with somebody. So and maybe it was just someone you just became acquainted with in the class, so then I would especially not do it. But I just keep your intellectual work to yourself. If you are stuck, you don't need to be going to other students and asking for help. You need to come to the person who's in charge of the class. You need to ask me. And then if you're still getting stuck, if like you need to see it through a different perspective, you also have the option down here, the Center for Academic Achievement, or a lot of people call it the CFAA. That's in the library when you first walk in the main entrance, right past the nice double spiral stairs there, where Einstein's Bagels, where that little shop is. Right behind that, there's a little hallway that goes back further into the library, and that's where the Tutoring Center, or the CFAA, is. And don't feel like that means you're somehow not academically inclined because you had to go like get tutoring for this, especially in a literature course. We're talking about more abstract ideas and connections at the college level. We're not just talking about like what family relative is the ghost that Hamlet sees in Act 1. Like, we're not talking about simple plot questions. We're talking about like higher level stuff. So don't feel like there's something wrong with you if you don't get every single reading. But this option down here is here if you're unable to get if you're unable to see me because of our conflicting schedules, or you're just not getting it the way that I'm covering it or explain it to you in an email. This option down here is there. Okay, so plagiarism in a nutshell, don't do it. Late work, I have kind of a lengthy explanation on that as well. So basically, this is generally never a problem. Mostly people do their work when they're supposed to, and you should. You're not going to have a lot of problems if you just do it when you're supposed to. But the late work description here is more about people who may have issues that cause them to miss a deadline like once or twice. Like, it happens to the best of us. Something unexpected will come up at just totally the wrong time. I get it. And I think everyone deserves that one get out of jail free card if you miss a deadline and you have to turn it in the next day. That's not the end of the world. When it is a problem is when you are habitually doing it. It's more than once. It's like all semester long. You're not going to get full credit for that. It can turn into a situation of, I'm just not going to accept that work anymore, because in the real world, no one's going to keep you around at a job if you keep turning things in late or coming in late to work, or you're not following the deadlines that are there for a reason. So that being said, if you have some kind of like intense crisis or personal tragedy or loss, and just communicate with me so I know, hey, I need to kind of negotiate things with the student. That you don't have to tell me all the details, but if you let me know and you show me documentation, then I will be willing to work with you for like whatever it is that you've missed and need to make up. Now, like, yeah, all those things, like the missing a little bit, that's all reasonable, and that's mostly why this statement is there. But also then the bottom half is more about the 0.001% situations where people stop showing up after like week 3, and in an online class, and then like, you're not showing up, it would mean they're not logging in, they're not turning in anything, not taking exams. You can't just like stop doing things in week 3 and then send an email to me cursing me out when you see an F on your transcripts at the end of the semester. Especially if you did reach out to me and I said, okay, yes, I'll work with you on that deadline you missed, and then you never followed through when I went out of my way to change things in D2L for you so you could have access to a missed deadline and such, then I'm going to have less patience and sympathy for you. You have to be responsible for you. I can reach a hand out and try to get you through your mistake, but it's ultimately up to you to be the adult in that situation. Last thing here, this is just a mental health resource for you. The counseling centers services have really expanded a lot since the pandemic happened. So if you are having a hard time with anything or everything, or just all the things, you should consider that. They have a lot of other new types of options now besides the sort of traditional coming in every week kind of thing. Okay, so like I said, your syllabi are the same in both classes. Now I'm going to go over your course calendar. Let me show you how you will get to that. I have the tabs open for both classes. So no matter which class you're in, you would go to content. And it's right here near the top. It's called your master course calendar. You want to rely on this for knowing anything and everything. If we have to change something, if I have to cancel a reading or whatever, you will be given an alert. I'll probably email you rather than do that news feed thing on D2L, because people are more likely to see it in an email if something like that were to come up. But I will also change it on here. This is what you should be looking at every week to know what you need to read. Okay, so I have it open for if you are in my Brit Lit class, and I have it open for if you're in my Literary Heritage course. So both courses are divided into units. If you're in Brit Lit 1, our units are chronological. We start in the Middle Ages, we go to the English Renaissance, and then the Restoration in 18th century. And If you are in literary heritage, that class, unlike the other, it's not chronological, but rather this course is divided up by a genre. So we start with short fiction, then we have poetry, and then we have drama. And both classes end with a couple of weeks or so of literary criticism. We will talk about that when we get closer to the end of the semester. Okay, no matter which of these two classes you are in, your calendar is color coded. So visual responses, everything, when you have an assignment to do, it is a different color other than the black and white that you have on the screen. So the visual responses are blue, like not too much to be alarmed about. It's a small, low stakes assignment, like I described earlier, but I want you to know it's there. When I can, when I know you have some kind of holiday or something, I will try to push it back. So for example, here, when you have Labor Day coming up that week after that, I won't make it due on the day you're supposed to have off from classes. So I'll give you a couple of extra days there when I know everyone's trying to take a 3-day weekend. So you see you have 5 of those throughout the semester. So all the blue ones, those are your visual response deadlines. Same for you all in Brit Lit. Exact same kind of setup. There are all 5 of your visual responses. Now I'm showing you both of these calendars because some of your due dates are not the same in both classes. They're usually approximately every other week, except when you have an exam. Okay, exams are red because that's, you want to pay attention to that. Those are open for a week in D2L. When you come up here to evaluation and click on assessments, you'll have a separate video for exams where I explain to you how to study for it. They are open book, open note, but it's more about you showing me that you can synthesize that material and make connections between the things that have been read. It's a lot of compare contrast sorts of ideas. Every time you have an exam, you also have a paper proposal due. You'll have a separate video for paper proposals as well. So I usually will try to break those up where they are not exactly on the same day. You'll see that over here as well. So over here, it's due on a Monday, but I give you a couple more days on your exam if you're in this class. It just works out better that way for the Brit Lit 1 class. That way you're not overwhelmed with 2 big things due at the exact same time. Okay, and so it will always be that pattern. You'll start a new unit, you'll have a couple of visual responses, and then you have another exam and another paper proposal. Now, it's only different when we get to the end of the semester where I don't make you do another paper proposal. The writing assignment you do is instead the final paper. And instead of taking just an exam, you take the final exam in final exam week. So that's the layout of all those things. The last thing I need to show you in this general overview is how to find your readings, because I said I give them to you, right? So there are 2 ways you can get to them, so you can't possibly mess this up. So in both of your calendars, no matter which of the 2 classes you're in, like I said, you have here near the top above your first unit, it says reading links. You click on that, it takes you to your respective reading links. So if you are in literary heritage in week 1, we're reading Where Are You Going? Where Have You Been? In the first week. So you would just click on your link and read the short story. There are instances, now I will check these weekly to make sure they still work. 90% of these should still work because a lot of them are housed at .edu sites or .org sites. So they're not going anywhere. if you are having trouble opening one, it might be the browser you're using. And the IT folks usually say that in that case, instead of just clicking on it, instead of left clicking on it, right click on it and select open in a new tab. That tends to solve the problem almost every time. I'm not entirely sure what it is besides the browser. Sometimes it seemed like students who were on MacBooks tend to have that problem more, but it wasn't all of them. So again, I don't know if it's Safari or Chrome or Firefox or whatever. So just give that, try a couple of different things, maybe even copy and paste the URL into a new tab. Worst case scenario, if you just Google the title of the reading and add PDF into it, you will find it. You will find other versions of it, and that will work. But generally, I think last semester, which was kind of the pilot semester where everything was online and I didn't make anyone buy books, I think there was only one thing that a lot of people had trouble with, and it was something where the link existed, but there was something about the link that was just not opening on people's computers, and so they had to all go find different versions of it so they could read it for class. So that's one of the two ways you can get to reading links. I also, to save you time, if you already, let's say you like print out the calendar, or you wrote down what it was for yourself and you're going to come back and read it later. So you don't always have to go into the calendar to get to reading links. Reading links is also right there in content beneath your calendar. So this is the exact same thing. Okay, same thing for you all in British literature. Yours works the exact same way. So if your reading assignment says you're reading Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, then that's what you will go read. They are separated by their units as well. So if you have trouble, I don't think that you will, but if you do, just let me know by email and I can walk you through it. Or if you absolutely have to, we can do a Zoom meeting and I can walk you through how to find these things, how to read your calendar, no matter which class you're in, and get you started with this first week of classes. So I wish all of you the best of luck in your other courses as well. And just let me know, shoot me an email if you need anything at all. Have a good week.